I'm not normally a book reader. I love an audiobook, I love a video, I love a podcast, but sort of books isn't a bit of me. However, I have seen this book on TikTok so much recently of TikTok shop creators sort of posting about it, promoting it, but also just general creators in general posting about it. Some of the clips that I've seen of Mel Robbins, the author, really sparked something, and I was like, this book sounds really, really cool. So I bought it, and we went to Portugal recently for a friend's wedding, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to take this with me and I'm going to read it next to the pool. I finished it. We were there a weekend. I finished it in one whole weekend, which for me, I take a book, I put it down, I'll come back to it like a month later, and it will take me like a year to read. This really changed the way that I think about things. It says on the front of the book, a life-changing tool that millions of people can't stop talking about. In the first few pages of this book, people have got tattoos with "let them" written on, all in the book. It has helped so many people, and literally as soon as I put this book down, I started implementing it. At the start of the book, Mel talks about how she was really struggling at one point in her life in terms of financial debt and stress and work, and didn't really know what to do. She was a lawyer, and then she moves into loads of different other things. She devised this thing where if she was a little bit depressed or anxious and didn't want to get up in the morning, she would count down from 5 to 1 and then just get out of bed. So she'd be in bed, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, up she gets. And I was like, oh my God, this is great. So I started to use it in some scenarios where I was a little bit nervous or a little bit anxious, and it worked amazingly well. And I've started to see myself using it. This book was so good, I've actually bought another one of her books, which is called, The High Five Habit, which I'll be reading very shortly now that I've finished this. This book isn't about counting down from 5. This is one of the things that she talks about early on, and she did a TED talk and it went super viral, and that's how she got kind of famous for all of her speaking stuff. But this book is called The Let Them Theory. It is all about letting them do whatever they need to do, whoever's around you, so it doesn't disturb you as a person. And especially if you're an overthinker like I am, I love to people please. It is in my nature. With this book, it is about changing the way that you think about things and scenarios that happen. So as an example, if someone flakes on plans, instead of going into like a spiral and letting it really affect you, which sometimes those scenarios have, whether that be work or personal, something's happened, my mind has spiraled out of control, sort of overthinking and overanalyzing the whole situation. In this book, it teaches you that it shows that person who they truly are to you. So it's letting them do whatever they need to do, and then letting me act in the way that is most appropriate. So either showing you who that person is, or the instance. And a great example of this, right? On the way back from Portugal, we were on the plane, and the guy in front of me decided to recline his seat right back into my legs. Now, I am a very tall guy with very long legs, and I value leg room massively. And he reclined his seat on me, and it really annoyed me. And before reading this book, it would really, really piss me off, and I would get really angry about it. And through the whole of that flight, 2 hours, 20 minutes, that's all I would be thinking about. All I would be going on in my mind, and how angry it was making me. And Mel uses a similar analogy in the book of a guy coughing. In that story of what she said, she turned around to the guy and said, can you please like cover your mouth when you're coughing? Like, none of us want to get sick. And he carried on coughing without covering his mouth, and she thought, let him cough without his mouth, let me just stick on my headphones, enjoy the rest of the flight, and if I get sick, I get sick. This is basically what I did on my flight home. I am such an overthinker, and in scenarios where I do overthink, or another example, when I started first going to the gym, I was very self-conscious about if I was doing things right, if people were staring at me, if people were looking at me. And if you put this principle into place, let them think whatever they want, let me do what's best for my health and my progress, and do what I need to do. And I'm not a book reader at all. And I read this in a weekend, and there are, how many pages? 300 pages? Yeah, literally just under 300 pages. It's easy to read. There's so many different chapters in there. I'm obviously not going to go into too much detail because you need to read the book. But in terms of the chapters, you've got obviously going over the let them theory, what it is, managing stress, how about fearing other people's opinions of yourself, dealing with someone else's emotional reactions, overcoming chronic comparison, adult friendships, your relationships and the let them theory, motivating other people to change, helping someone who's struggling, about love and relationships, and there's like an appendix at the back. And then she's also written some guides. I think there's one about parenting. There's one that I'm reading at the moment, which is literally in front of me on my computer, which is about letting them and how to guide and lead a business and a team, and five ways to change sort of how you manage people, rather than, and this is what I want to clarify, this book isn't about letting people walk all over you, you know, you just being passive about it. It's teaching you that the way you deal with the scenario is the best way to deal with it. You can't control everyone in your life, and you can't control thoughts of anyone else or their actions. The only thing you can control is yourself, how your brain thinks and what you do. This really did change my perspective on the way that I look at different scenarios. And a prime example, on the way back from the plane, it really did change the way that I think about how I perceive other people's thoughts about me. And there was a great analogy and a great story, in this, where she was scrolling on Instagram. She saw some people that had gone, I think, to the Hamptons or something on a holiday, like a girls' trip, and she got massive FOMO. And then she realized those people in those pictures were some of her friends that she'd known for years, and they hadn't invited her. And obviously that would to make anyone spiral in terms of thoughts and overthinking the situation. Did I do anything wrong, etc.? She framed that in the way of, well, let them go away and do what they need to do, but let me focus on building my relationships with the people that matter to me most. And then she went in to say that, you know, she hadn't really made a lot of effort with that friendship group, and maybe that'd be why. And the way that this goes through, it is just absolutely phenomenal, and I urge everyone to read it. It's not a big book, as you can see, 300 pages. The text is quite big, so you're not like looking through microscopes to view all the words, and it can seem pretty daunting to have like a book and read through, but I thoroughly enjoyed this. I've been watching and listening to her podcast as well, and as I said, I've bought another one of her books, which is The High Five Habit, which I think she mentioned at the start of this book. You high five yourself in the mirror every day. This isn't a book about high-fiving everyone else in your life. You're already doing that, cheering for your favorite team, celebrating your friends, supporting the people you love as they go after what they want. But imagine giving you that same love and encouragement to yourself, or better yet, making it a daily habit. So I will probably do a video and some content on this, because this looks like a fantastic book, and the way that this was, I'm in for a bit of a treat. So I'm going to put this on the back shelf on my bookcase and look back on it. I'm probably going to come back and read it at a later date, but I highly recommend this book for anyone that just wants to think and change their perspective about how they're looking at life and other people. And you can apply this to business. Someone asked the other day, can I apply it into sales? Absolutely. So have a look at this book, have a read. If you've got any book recommendations, please do leave them in the comments. And if you have read this book, let me know what you think as well, because it is an absolute game changer. Stay awesome, stay safe, but most importantly, stay nerdy.